starting off the hiring, I think, is one of the most important things of getting the right people. This one is crucial because although it will be different for different companies as we face different challenges at different stages, I do believe there is certain ingredients that can help build successful teams despite company sizes and industries. So in a scale-up environment, with limited resources, every hire truly counts. Starting with the right recruitment and hiring the right people matters. This one is crucial, I feel, because in growth companies or stages, you focus on bringing in people very quickly. But a metric that I always look at is actually whether it was a successful or non-successful hire. And what I mean by that is how long did they actually stay in the company for? And then from there, I would look at different metrics such as, exit interview data, onboarding processes, induction processes, manager training, etc. So then when you've got them in, you have to ask yourselves, are we setting them up for success? And if we look at our onboarding and induction processes, especially for hybrid working companies, and in our instance, we've got remote teams as well. We need to work with managers, to ensure that they're setting people up for success. And ultimately, we also need to set managers up for success because we have to bear in mind that this could be their first time being a manager as well. And then with that comes regular check-ins. How are they doing? Are they hitting the goals and objectives? And that's where in the moment feedback is also really crucial. And I always say you can catch things in the moment then, and actually you can address those sort of challenges between the manager and individual as well. Or offering learning opportunities to people is obviously very important as well. And then rewarding that talent fairly in the moment as well. That's where objective processes is super important as well. And I would just finally say having a great culture, which means, different things for different people, because we possibly can't be everything for everyone. But if we know what we want to be known for and we're very deliberate about building that, we can definitely hire the right people for us. Yeah, good question. So it ultimately starts with understanding why people should join and stay with us. While some factors may temporarily keep someone in the role, the reality is that culture matters, whether we acknowledge it or not. Culture isn't just about words for me. It is genuinely about actions and behaviors consistently. And if we think about our personal lives, this is a bit of a philosophical way of looking at it, but, we typically gravitate towards environments where we feel valued, where we belong, we enjoy the people we're with, we have a purpose in what we do. And I do believe that the same principles do apply here in the workplace. We need to ask ourselves, why should people join us and why should they stay with us? And I think this comes back to ties back nicely back to empowering individuals to make the right decision for themselves, of hiring us, making sure, are we the right company for them? I think it's a foundation of mutual beneficial working relationship. And we need to understand, are their values and goals aligned to ours? And I think data consistently shows, disengaged employees are less productive, which directly does impact the business and actually the people around them as well. So, having that strong culture where people do feel connected, valued, respected, where they're aligned with the mission, we do create an environment where, both individuals and the company will thrive. And if I bring that into the context of, our own values are awesome, we have 4 values, which is care, transparency, attention to detail, and continuous improvement. So what do we mean by care? It's actually, how do we show up individually, for ourselves, for our teammates, our clients, for the work that we do. I think that's super important. Transparency, being honest and open is super important, and encouraging people to give that feedback, which then, and if we act on it, it does build trust within the business, but it needs to be consistent. Again, from a people team perspective as well, we're always committed to gathering feedback through various employee life cycle forums, and not just for an annual, biannual survey as well. Attention to detail, given the industry that we're in, accuracy is so important. And that's, I think in return, it also helps build our own sort of personal credibility as well. Continuous improvement. I think it's important for people to come in with that solution first mindset. I think those people tend to do really well at Osome as well. Lastly, actually, I would just share around DEI, isn't separate from culture. The more sort of you normalize this as part of everyday practices, and that's typically what your culture will become as well. In order for innovation to happen, we need collaboration done through the right people. So on a practical level, it's about the teams and the people coming together and bridging the gaps and addressing any challenges that they may have. And then from an employee perspective, innovation and change comes from bridging the gap between, doing what's right for the business, but also doing what's right for the people. And sometimes it can be quite situational and it can be a fine line. And this is where feedback through various forums, whether that be surveys through, recruitment surveys, new starter survey, leaver surveys, engagement surveys, focus group, brainstorming sessions, which is everything that we do. We collate feedback and, make change accordingly on the back of that. And I guess the luxury of having so much diversity in the business, we really do get to hear different perspectives and experiences and viewpoints. So that's what makes it special as well. So we launched our Grow with Awesome program at the beginning of 2023, which played a big role in shaping our culture and actually setting the tone of what we want to be known for as an employer. So the Grow with Awesome program offers, colleagues the opportunity to grow both personally and professionally. So initially, we're launching new initiatives every month, focusing on different diverse topics to educate people. And when it comes to leadership, how they can support this, I think it's an important point to emphasize that culture doesn't just come from a HR side alone. So I think it's a great question. It is actually driven by leaders and managers across the business. So it's important for us to, as a leadership team, first to align on how do we want to show up for our people? What do we want to be known for? What care do we want to provide for our colleagues and clients? This alignment in itself will lay the foundation for everything that we do. While we may not all have the same belief system, and I think that's absolutely fine because that's what true inclusion is, I do feel we do need to align on some shared values and have a collective vision together. So as a people team, we've been very fortunate to have various people in the business participate in different panel sessions, sharing their own experiences and stories. That collaboration in itself highlights the importance of diversity of thought. I think everyone has something valuable to contribute. So yes, fostering an inclusive culture isn't solely the responsibility of the leadership team, but yes, they are ultimately the people that hold the power to set the tone, I think. But the real change happens collectively. That's why, we launched something called Allyship. We introduced this toolkit to help colleagues understand how they too can show up and help one another, and we can foster that sort of inclusive and supportive environment. So yeah, in short, I do think it's a collective effort. So it's all about celebrating culture and religious festivals, and it's also about celebrating and supporting different health and well-being needs in all forms, whether that's supporting our working parents, women in the workplace, colleagues from the LGBT plus community, continuously looking at ways to grow and adapt the Grow with Awesome program to make it fair and accessible for everyone. So the blessing of a scale up is that people can grow very quickly. Challenge becomes, however, is the opportunity can sometimes be limited. That's where creativity comes in. You need to find ways to make people want to stay and grow within the business. And honestly, career development can sometimes come from unexpected opportunities, especially within scale-up business or growth business. The people that I've seen grow here genuinely care about the work that they do, impact that they're having. They have a great attitude. They're really solution focused, and that continuous improvement mindset plays a big part as well. So the individuals often end up creating themselves a role, and that's truly great to witness as well. And I always say career development doesn't have to be linear. That's why we provide various toolkits and resources to empower people to take charge of their own careers. And I always encourage people to really think about what does career development mean to them, as we all have different personal motivators on why we work. So again, it's about gaining experience through different means, whether it's exploring a new market, vertical, a new team. These experiences are all valuable for the overall learning portfolio. So we conduct promotions twice a year, work creatively with colleagues to explore growth opportunities for them. It's crucial to build structures around business needs. We also want to remain somewhat fluid in how we can best support our people's careers. So personally, this is what I love. Working for international companies is where I thrive most. So, learning new perspectives, cultures, legislations, personalities, it really does help me shape the people plan. Often the natural thing to do is impose our way to others, but true inclusion comes from adapting to different perspectives, especially at Osome, where a majority of our colleagues and client base is across Asia. So the biggest lesson I've learned is the importance and power of listening and adapting, for sure. So I would say if you are looking to work across global offices, I would say being flexible and adaptable will be super important. I'd like to add the more global understanding you have or we have, the better we can understand and relate to our customers as well. The diversity of thought is what makes workplaces, social groups, and just generally the world special. And I think in order to thrive in the workplace, there needs to be a certain level of shared values or vision to make something work. So in terms of characteristics for Osome, I'd say you need to be super comfortable with change, have that solution focused mindset, creative problem solvers, and those people tend to thrive here. So you do need people that are open to change, new ways of working, ideas, embracing challenges. We also want individuals to really care about the work that they do, but also care about the clients and the teammates as well. Since we don't have large teams, an individualistic mindset can only take us so far, hence why recruiting reliable team members for us is going to be super crucial always. And finally, we talk about resilience at Osome, and what that means here is just being able to bounce back from business challenges and setbacks while maintaining sort of that focus for the business. So a few things come to mind. So while accounting might not always be seen as the most glamorous industry, it's definitely one of the most essential for companies and entrepreneurs. So I always say, if you're excited about the future of accounting, that this is definitely the place for you. And then from a culture perspective, I'm always amazed and very excited to see familiar faces back in the business. We've had several people return back to Osome because they truly enjoyed the culture. And on top of that, we have a super diverse team starting from the top. And I think right now we represent around 23 nationalities across the business. So I think that's what's special about Osome. So it's a bit cliche, but it's the people. And I have to say, especially the people team, having a team that genuinely care about the business and the people as much as you do, it's truly something special and quite rare sometimes actually as well. And secondly, I would say for me, it's definitely the impact and autonomy I have to do meaningful work for our people.